Hey, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome back to 815 Sports Podcast. Really quick, we want to talk about Packers' big win yesterday over the Lions, 29-22. I'm sure most of you guys watched that game. Jordan Love looked phenomenal. Rashawn Gary had 3 sacks. And the team just looked really good. And if they keep playing like this, they could end up, you know, sneaking into the playoffs. But we'll see. But I think the past 2 games, I've seen enough from Love to say that I'm confident in him being the quarterback for a few more years following this year. Jake, you got anything to add on yesterday's game?
I was just wondering, do you think the division's out of reach?
At 5-6, they're 8-3. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's definitely possible, but I would say that it's out of reach.
Do they
Yeah.
still play him another time?
No, we lost the first time to him in Lambeau, so
Oh,
that's it. But I mean, if we went out, maybe, but I don't really see the division being something to be the wild
next
card.
week's gonna be tough, right? Kansas City,
Kansas
Sunday
City.
Night Football
At
Is
home,
that right?
yeah.
So
It'll be a
that'll
tough
be a
game.
tough game. I mean, I'm obviously pulling for the Packers hard in that game for the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they show up, and if they play how they did yesterday, I think they got a real shot at knocking them off. Kansas City doesn't look like, what they used to.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think the Packers have a chance. I don't know that, they ultimately win the game, but who knows? I didn't think they were going to win last night.
Yeah, I didn't think they were going to win
Or
yesterday
yesterday.
either, but they ended up doing it. So great game, and
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game, but overall, I mean, all three of those games yesterday were kind of.
they weren't really. I
They
think
just
each
were
team
kinda
kind of
shitty
handled
games.
it. Yeah,
I mean, the Packers kind of handled Detroit. It was a little bit close there in the third quarter when they scored again, but the Packers came right back. I mean, Dallas absolutely slaughtered Washington, and San Francisco kind of took it to Seattle too. They weren't really, interesting close games.
Yeah, they weren't.
And I'm not sure that today's game's going to be that interesting either.
No,
but
you wouldn't think.
I mean, you never know, though. It is a divisional opponent. The Jets might come out and play us tough.
Yeah.
But
and speaking of that, we'll jump into this. So today, the Black Friday game, we got the Miami Dolphins at the Jets. Are favored by 9.5. Jake, I'll let you start.
Yeah, this is a big game for the Dolphins because it's a divisional opponent, and it's the first game. Yeah, it's the first game versus the Jets. We got them again in a couple weeks in Miami. But I just kind of feel like you can't go in there thinking you're going to beat them just because of – I don't even know the guy's name.
Tim Boyle starting it. His first ever NFL start.
So you can't go in there just thinking you're going to beat him just because of him. Because then, you play sloppy, you turn the ball over, and then you look in the third quarter and you're up by a touchdown, right? Kind of like last week, how the Dolphins kind of played a little bit maybe down to their opponent.
Mm-hmm.
But they're pretty healthy. The Dolphins are pretty healthy. I think they just came out and said A-Chain's not playing today. But you still have Raheem. I'm not really too worried about losing him. I don't think that's that big of a deal. It's not a deal breaker, but
and Tyreek's still playing.
Tyreek's playing. They've got to start getting the ball to Jalen Waddle a little more. You don't want to start getting some bad blood, with him feeling like he's not in the offense that much.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that I would look to see them target him a little bit more and Hill. But if Hill's open, I mean, you got to throw it to him.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't not. I don't know, but you just like to see Waddle get more involved.
Yeah, I agree. And no disrespect to Waddle, but Hill is a complete superstar. Is going to make the Hall of Fame, I'd imagine. And I'm not saying the Waddle won't, but Waddle is a hell of a player. But he's not up to Tyreek Hill's status. So I see why they give it more to Hill.
It's just because,
but more like a 60-40 split.
When you're able to when teams are able to shut Hill down or take him out of the game a little bit, you're never going to take him out of the game, but take him out a little bit, you're gonna have to throw to somebody else. And if Waddle feels like he's not implemented in the offense, he might be checked out.
Yeah,
and you can't have that.
Yeah, I agree.
So, that's what I look for. I look for the Dolphins to get Waddle more involved today. Is my take from the game.
I'm gonna take Miami. I'd take 9.5. Jake, final score prediction?
I don't know, probably like 32-17. 28-10. I don't see the Jets scoring that much.
Yeah.
the Dolphins defense has been playing really well.
Yeah.
Really well.
I
I think the Dolphins win. I don't know about 10. I think that's a lot. I think they are 10 points better than the Jets, but I don't know. I don't know what the weather's really going to be like. If it's going to be rainy, if it's going to be 40 and nice. If it's raining, throw everything the fuck out. If it's raining.
mm-hmm.
So
We'll see. Should be a good game at least. Up next, Saints Falcons at home. The Falcons did say they're going to keep their head coach for the rest of the year and to start off next
that
year,
Tool.
Arthur Smith. But when I look at this game, I think New Orleans overall has a better roster, a more experienced quarterback, and you got Kamara coming out of the backfield. I like New Orleans, and I like the 1.5, even though they're on the road.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think I also like the Saints. I'm trying to think who's winning that division.
The Saints are in first right now.
The Saints are in first.
Yeah.
So Atlanta, do you know their record? Like, is the division close?
I know the Bucs are only like a game or two out of it.
So, anyways,
they're all still in.
Yeah,
it.
they're all still in it. So this is kind of a big game for that division. But I think I like the Saints. I think I trust them more.
Yeah. Steelers at Bengals. Both of these teams are not that great, and simply Cincinnati because they don't have Burrow. Pittsburgh doesn't really score a lot of points. I don't see this being a high-scoring game, but I am going to take Pittsburgh just because they do have a decent record, and that's not why I'm picking them, but I like Tomlin, and I think they have a little bit more continuity there as where the Bengals don't even have Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I like the Steelers to go into Cincinnati and get a big win and keep their season. 7-5, that'd be the record. That's okay.
Yeah.
If the Bengals have any chance of fighting for a playoff spot, they got to get this game at home. I don't see it. I don't know much about this quarterback. And the Steelers are
Kenny Pickett sucks.
Steelers are a formidable team opponent, but I think it's going to be a really close game.
Yeah. Well, I don't think either team's going to score.
But I think the Steelers win.
It'll probably be like a 13-10 game like the one last week was for them. Panthers at Titans. The Panthers suck. The Titans aren't much better, but they are. I'd take the Titans minus 3.5. I was reading some things yesterday, and this doesn't have to do exactly with this game, but when you take a look at it, do you think that the trade that Carolina made with the Bears might go down as one of the worst trades ever? And the reason I say this is because right now, Bryce Young looks terrible. He's shorter guy, just hasn't looked that great. And C.J. Stroud went to pick after him, and he's looked really good. And then you also look at it, you don't get a first-round pick next year, you give it to the Bears. And the Bears are looking like they're in prime time, in a good position to load up next year.
Yeah, I mean, this game, I don't know. This is kind of a shitty slate of games. I'm going to take Tennessee as well. And about Bryce Young, I just feel like he's not put in a great situation. I don't know. There's not much there. I mean, you can only elevate your team so much.
Yeah.
Right? These guys are going up against the best players in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have a decent players, I don't even know if they have any decent players, but I mean,
Adam Thielen, maybe. I don't know. That's it. And I mean, he ain't even that great of a guy anymore.
He's good, but he's probably like he'd be great on like a Dolphins team where
he's wide receiver 3.
Yeah, he's not one that needs to be the number one option all the time.
Yeah.
But I just think Bryce. I just think he needs he needs more time. I think he needs another year or two. I think the Texans are
better situation,
way better, a little bit farther ahead than the Panthers.
Yeah.
But also, I just feel like Stroud's maybe a little bit more
he's
dynamic.
He seems
should
better.
I say? He's a little bit more dynamic. But I don't know. I think you'd be stupid to write off Bryce Young right now at the moment.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I don't think they have a very good team around them at all.
No, they're terrible. I think they're the worst team in the league.
And what sucks is they won't have a first-round pick next year to really help them at all.
Yeah,
or a second-round pick, I believe. But up next, we got the Bucs at the Colts. The Bucs are still in the divisional race. Getting this win against the Colts will be huge. The Colts got Gardner Minshew at quarterback. I think this is a game that Baker and the Bucs can pull out, and I'm going to roll with the Bucs plus 2.5.
This is a weird game. These are all fucking. I mean, look at the slate of games. My God.
lot of mediocrity in the NFL, just like Tom Brady said the other day. When he was talking with Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, I think I'll ride with Tampa as well. I don't know. I just feel they're due. I don't really know much about this Colts team, but you said Gardner Minshew. I'm going to take Baker Mayfield over Gardner Minshew, I guess. That's why.
Yeah.
Look at this fucking
this
game.
is a terrible game too. I don't even know what game I'll have to decide to watch here in the noon
maybe
slate.
Buffalo at Philadelphia.
Well, that's not until that's probably the Fox game of the week, all the way down there at 3:30.
I feel the Sunday night game will be a good game.
Yeah, Sunday night should be a decent game.
Chargers will put up points, but
this is an absolute whoever loses this game will probably end up with the first pick. I'm going to take the Giants. Tommy DeVito, he looked pretty good last week. Mac Jones looks like complete dog shit there. So that's all I really got to say about this one.
I'm going to take the Giants. Tommy DeVito looks really good. And obviously he's the old Illini quarterback, so I'm rooting for him.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably tune into that game because of that reason. But I'm excited to watch him play. I think he is a very good game manager, and he's got a decent arm. I don't think he really brings that running implement to the game, but he's a very good game manager, and he's a very good quarterback.
Yeah.
And I like to watch him play. I thought he was really good at Illinois. So I'm going to take the Giants.
Yeah. And I don't know what the over-under is for this game, but I'm sure it's not. There probably won't be very many points in this one.
No. I bet you it's in the 20s.
Probably. Jags, Texans. Actually, this will be a good game. This will be a good game. This is probably your best noon game. Both of these teams in a spot to potentially take the division. AFC South, the Jags are in first right now. CJ Stroud's been balling. I did really want to take Houston in this game, but I'm going to take Jacksonville.
You are?
Yeah, I'm going to take Jacksonville, 1.5. I know it's at Houston, but Jacksonville looked really good last week. I like Etienne. I like Lawrence. I like Doug Peterson. I like Calvin Ridley. They got Evan Ingram. They're just a really good team, I think. They've had some down weeks at times, but Houston's going to put up a hell of a fight, and I think this one will probably be high scoring.
Yeah, this is going to be my upset of the week. I mean, the Jags are favored. I don't really know if it's an upset. I mean, I'm going to take the Texans. I think they're the hot team. I just don't know about I know Jacksonville, like you said, played better last week, but the week before they looked like dog shit, right, versus San Francisco. Yeah. So, and the Texans are at home. Like, this is their chance, right? Like, this is their chance to leap. Who is in first?
The Jags.
Okay.
They're in second, the Texans.
So this is for first place. Because aren't they both over 500?
They're both over 500. The Jags are better by a game, I think, maybe a game or two. I think they have 3 losses and the Texans have 4.
Okay, so this is essentially for first place then. Okay. I'm taking the Texans. I think this is their moment. Right? Everybody has a moment during the season. I kind of feel like the Packers are in their moment, right? 2 wins that you really didn't think they were going to get.
Yesterday was a big-time win.
So that's what I'm saying. So, like, this is the Texans' moment, like, to, like, be brought back in the picture and, like, I don't know, maybe be a top 10 team. I mean, they're flirting.
Yeah.
They're very well flirting on that 8, 9, 10 range, 11. So
and a lot of people think Stroud might get MVP.
So I'm taking the Texans. Keep it up. Yeah,
that's a good pick, Jake. I like that pick. Browns, Broncos. Somehow the Browns pulled it out last week with DTR at quarterback, Noah Watson against the Steelers. But I tell you what, the Broncos been hot lately. A couple wins in a row.
So yeah, it is for first 6-4. Texans 7-3 Jaguars. It's for first place. But yeah, Browns, Broncos.
I'm taking the Broncos by 1.5 here. I like what I've seen lately.
Yeah,
Russell Wilson looks a lot better lately.
I think if we pull back videos, I think I can remember me saying, like, I don't think the Broncos are as bad as their record.
Yeah.
Or I don't think the Broncos were 70 points bad versus the Dolphins. I just think it was one of those once-in-a-season games where a team just gets absolutely dismantled. And it happened to be them. But I think the Broncos are a formidable team. I don't think they're great because I don't think they can put up points that quick. But, I mean, they're playing the Browns. The Broncos are at home. I think the Broncos go to 6-5, and they are right back in the thick of things, right? And after that game versus Miami, you would have thought, like, no fucking way, right?
Yeah.
They were like 1-4. Here they are at 5-5 with some impressive wins over good teams. and they get another chance at home. I mean, they have to win this game.
Yeah, they have to, and I think that they will.
I mean, they moved to 6-5, and what if the Chiefs? Just hypothetical. What if the Chiefs lose? 7-4, 6-5.
Yeah.
You're one game out with 5 games to go.
Yeah.
Who the Chiefs play this week?
Vegas.
Okay, so probably not going to happen. But
it could.
Anyway, it's just hypothetical. It could, right? Any given Sunday, they could be one game out of their division. That's a crazy.
The Broncos still play them again one more time.
It's a crazy turnaround that I think nobody's seen coming.
No. Up next, we got the Rams favored by 2 at the Cardinals. Stafford against Kyler. I know that the Cardinals, like on paper, probably the Rams have a better team, but I'm going to take Arizona. I think Kyler's. I just
pick at all.
I think Carolina. I don't know. I just think Kyler's going to play out of his mind this Sunday for some reason, and I'm going to roll with Kyler Murray.
I'm going to take Arizona too. I think that's a good pick, and I think I'm going to roll with them because of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mean,
right? Like you said, he's looked good.
And a lot of people they talk about, wanting to have somebody else at quarterback next year. You did just pay Kyler Murray a boatload of money, which you have to give him either way. I would stick with Kyler. I mean, he's probably in his mid-20s. And he's a hell of a player. He's elusive. He can throw it. He's somebody you just want to watch out there. And if I was Arizona, I'd keep him.
He's very dynamic. He can kind of do it all.
Yeah. You get a couple good pieces around him. You've seen the year that they had Hopkins, the first year, they were a pretty formidable team.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you can just build upon that, they can be a pretty good team down there.
Yeah.
Kansas City Raiders, Jake, go ahead.
Kansas City at the Raiders. This is probably going to be – this has potentially shit show written all over it, I'm just going to say. The Raiders did play the Dolphins tough. They are at home. It's probably going to be a sea of red, I would imagine, in Vegas.
Probably.
I just don't know how the Raiders win. I'm going to take Kansas City. I do think the Raiders will play them tough because they do play everybody tough.
Mm-hmm.
But Kansas City's too good. They're reeling, right? They're coming off a loss. Denver's hot. Like my message to the team would be like, you don't want to be one game ahead of the Broncos after this week. Like, heads would start to roll. So I think Kansas City get rebounds and wins. And
I agree. I don't know if they'll win by 9. Kansas City, Mahomes still looks great, but the receivers are not helping him out at all. They helped him out a little bit last week. They beat the Eagles.
But doesn't it have to get somewhat better? Like, we can't just keep saying. I mean, I don't know. Like, they do drop it a lot, but eventually that's going to turn around. Like,
you'd think, but remember, it's been happening the whole season so far.
I don't know how, but yeah, I mean, you know what? You're right.
Just has. But the best game of Sunday, probably Bills-Eagles. Philly at home, favored by 3.
Win.
Yeah, big win. Buffalo also had a nice little rejuvenating win for them on Sunday.
Do you think this is potential trap?
A lot. The safe
I
pick,
do. I think this is a trap game, and I'm not taking Buffalo. But if Buffalo wins, I would not be surprised. The Eagles need to be humbled.
I'm gonna take Buffalo in this game. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think Buffalo got a good feeling back in their stomach last week, beating the Jets, especially beating them how they did, and the offense looked pretty good. So I'm gonna take Buffalo.
You're taking Buffalo?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a high-scoring matchup. But I tell you what, Buffalo, like I said, looked rejuvenated last week, and I think they can continue it this week.
Buffalo's a team that can beat any team in this league, right?
Yeah.
We know their offense. We know they're scary. Their defense is very busty type.
Yeah.
They're not good. They're banged up, but I would not want to play Buffalo. And with that being said, I'm taking Philadelphia at home. I think they're too good. And they always find a way.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do get into a pissing match offensively, I don't know that they can outscore Philly. I think Philly's defense is a little bit better than Buffalo's.
I agree.
So I think Philly I think Philly could outscore them.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's a great game though, and I'm going to stick with Buffalo.
This is another good game though. I mean, I know the Chargers record, but they will put up points. That's what they do. And anyways, You know what? I'm actually going to take the Chargers. I think this is the one game that they figure it out and they win. I just feel like their offense is so like they're a very good offensive team, and they're at home. I don't really know who you can say that for a team like that when there's going to be a lot of purple. But who you got? I got Chargers.
I'm going to take Baltimore. I think LA is starting to lose faith in themselves and playing for Staley. Yeah, and I don't see why they. I understand that. Baltimore's looked pretty good so far this year. I got faith in Lamar Jackson being able to pull this game out in LA and stick atop the AFC there with the Dolphins and the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, this weekend is huge for the Dolphins. If the Chargers can beat Baltimore, the Dolphins win. Who knows with Kansas City? But I mean, come Monday, the Dolphins can be the 1 seed.
Yeah,
or they could still be tied for the. As long as all three of these teams win, they're still tied. So, but a lot of things can play out.
Monday Night Football, Bears at Minnesota. I'm going to take Minnesota. Josh Dobbs has looked pretty decent since he's gotten there. They're at home. I'll tell you what, Minnesota is one of the toughest places to play in the NFL, if not the toughest. That place is going to be loud as shit.
And they got to have it.
And I think they're a better coach team than Chicago Bears.
6-5, can't go to 6-6. 7-5, Minnesota. I'm taking the Vikings. I think they rebound. They kind of choked right versus Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. They probably should have won that game.
Yeah.
So this is a game I think they get. I think they're a good team. Mm-hmm. I don't know how this guy stepped in there and just kind of floated. They didn't really go down. They didn't go up. They kind of stayed the same.
Mm-hmm.
I still think they're dangerous.
Yeah, I do too. And I tell you what, but as a Packers fan, it actually helps us if Chicago wins this game because then Minnesota, they have the tiebreaker because they beat us. Mm-hmm. But if we beat them later in the year, then it'll pretty much even itself out. But we're only a game back from being in the playoffs like they are right now.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, this is starting to get to where you can't lose. Like these weeks are starting to become so much more important for when you're on the outside looking in. And Minnesota has a chance at home to go to 7-5
mm-hmm.
versus a team they should beat. You've got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think they will. I think they'll get it done. Everybody have a great weekend and enjoy the games. We'll be back next week.